So guys, imagine sitting in a hospital waiting room and you're suffering from cancer, you're waiting to get your treatment, and you look around you and there's 40 odd foreign men who are getting priority treatment ahead of you for infectious diseases such as tuberculosis. Well, you don't have to imagine that. All you need to do is live in the UK. Because for some reason, this country seems to have priorities completely backwards and is doing things that no right-minded first world country would even consider. You have to wonder what's going on in this country, guys. You really do. Let's talk about it.
If raising legitimate concerns about thousands and thousands of unchecked foreign males illegally entering our country makes me far right, then so be it.
Now, before I do that, please subscribe to the channel. The reason that I have to keep asking is because if I don't, no one subscribes. And of course, YouTube is doing its best to desubscribe people constantly. So again, check down below. If you've been unsubscribed from my channel, just resubscribe again. It's incredibly annoying and deceitful by YouTube, but it's what they do. And there's nothing I can do to complain about it or anyone else. We just have to keep resubscribing and play them at their own game. All right, guys, let's get back to the video. So first off, I'd like to say a thank you to BB Audits for the work that he's doing and highlighting what's happening here. I think without people like this, well, obviously the government wouldn't be telling us what's going on. It's up to citizen journalists and people actually going out there and getting the stories that the government continues to cover up. So the clip itself is from, like I said, it's from BB Audits, and it's the Braintree Community Hospital, and it captures what is essentially 40 asylum seekers waiting in a hospital waiting room, with sick cancer patients, obviously getting priority because they have infectious diseases, obviously such as tuberculosis, among other things, which is the opposite of what you would think a cancer patient would be expected to endure, seeming as like cancer patients have lowered immune system because of the drugs that they're forced to go on to beat the cancer. Having people sat next to you with tuberculosis is probably not a good idea. And of the migrants that were interviewed, they were from Ethiopia, Sudan, Afghanistan, Eritrea, and they all confirmed that they've been in the UK for a short time only. They are recent arrivals with diseases that the English haven't had to worry about for an awful long time. The same as, I think it was not long ago, Keir Starmer was saying that everyone should get HIV tests, and that came out of the blue for some reason.
We're at Downing Street, where the Prime Minister has become the first G7 leader to take a HIV test.
Also around the time that he was involved with that controversy with Ali is his donor, who was giving him and his wife gifts. And also when he was controversially involved with a house fire at his old address involving 2 Ukrainian rent boys.
Stop that.
Keir Starmer is a bit of a strange one, but I won't get too bogged down on that right now. What this highlights is a trend in the UK that sees the government consistently putting the citizens of this country second. I don't know whether it's on purpose. I don't want to get too much into that right now, but it is a pattern that we're seeing everywhere. We're seeing this in all aspects of our life, all aspects of society, where the English themselves are not considered first. They are an afterthought when it comes to safety and when it comes to public health and when it comes to treatments as well. So one of the things that really annoys me about this, and I find quite disgusting, is that these cancer patients, obviously, thankfully they've managed to get the treatment. A lot of cancer patients don't make it in time because of the NHS waiting list. At least these ones have managed to get the treatment. But they're forced to wait while the RAF from, I think it's Wethersfield migrant site. So the RAF Wethersfield migrant site, they bussed in these people, they sent them to the hospital, and then they gave them priority over cancer patients that obviously have an appointment. They're due to get their treatment, but these migrants take precedent. Now, again, you've got to ask yourself, why are we importing these people? Why are we importing people that obviously are very low educated? I'm guessing not very high IQ. I'm guessing they're not going to bring anything to the UK economy. They're not going to contribute to our society. I don't know what these guys are doing here apart from spreading infectious diseases and taking up valuable time from the NHS staff and getting in the way of people with genuine problems, people that have paid into the system their entire lives, who are waiting there, have their appointment, and are superseded by a bunch of foreigners that don't even deserve to be here. Now, if you think during COVID, guys, if you think back to COVID, when we had the big scares and everyone had to wear masks and it was seen as this terrible, terrible thing that is going to sweep the country, and unless you wear a mask or you get that vaccine, well, you're a problem, you're a danger to the public. And yet, as we're seeing here, the government is quite happy to ship in migrants with tuberculosis, and tuberculosis is an incredibly infectious disease. Incredibly infectious, it's airborne, and yet these people are not even wearing masks. So the government will flip out over COVID, which is essentially just a very strong cold, but when it comes to infecting, potentially infecting cancer patients with tuberculosis, a disease that is very much more likely to kill you, they just don't seem to give a shit. They don't make these migrants wear masks. They don't even sit them in a separate room. Now, this isn't just unfair on the patients that have to sit there and bear it. It's also unfair on the staff, it's unfair on the local communities, and it's unfair on the people working in the RAF base. Because of the infectious nature, there is not a single person during the sequence of events that happens, that unfolds from the migrants arriving in the country to getting checked out, to being sent to hospitals, to coming back to the camp. There's not a single person that has to deal with these people that is not at risk, apart from the government that greenlights it. And as I showed just a second ago, it's not just TB. There's a whole range of different diseases, airborne, bloodborne, that they are bringing into this country that we haven't had to deal with for a long time. We all remember getting the injections on the top of our arm for TB when we were children. There's a reason it was almost wiped out of this country. TB cases were incredibly rare, and now they're spiking. Now, I know it's difficult to see, but here's a range of different diseases that have started to spike in the UK since immigration went out of control, including amoebiasis, if I've said that right, nervous system viruses, leptospirosis, brucellosis, whatever that is, shingles, diphtheria. Not good stuff. I can't even read those things. They sound terrible. And the reason I can't read them is because they're not in our lexicon, guys. We're not used to having to deal with this shit. Absolutely going crazy, the infectious diseases in this country. And it's not because the English are suddenly more infectious. It's not because these diseases have suddenly sprouted wings and travelled across the country. No, it's because the people coming here are carrying these diseases. The people coming here are not being vetted. The people coming here are being let into our country without even a medical, with no checks, no background checks. And of course, you all know this already, but not even medical checks. This is a danger to the United Kingdom, an obvious danger. And it's another example of how the government does not give a shit about the people. And it's not just infections in general, guys, it's also hospital infections. Going to the hospital is no longer a safe enterprise. It's no longer guaranteed that you will go to the hospital and get better, especially when there's infectious diseases everywhere, and the hospital themselves has no quarantine, has nothing to protect you from people already infected with these airborne illnesses. And again, what really annoys me about this is the fact they put them in a room with cancer patients that have reduced immune systems, reduced immunization because of the treatment themselves. Now, I'm just an idiot on the internet. The staff in the hospital must intimately know this, and yet it still happened anyway. Is that a lack of procedure, a lack of rigorous oversight, or is it just that the NHS itself is now heavily staffed by people that have no interest in this country, have no loyalty to this country, are not from this country? So why would they care about the native people of this country if they're not even from here? And again, I don't want to get too xenophobic or anything like this, guys. It's just a pattern. It's obviously disgusting. There's no one that's going to look at these videos or look at this information and think, wow, the NHS is doing such a great job. This adds to the further malaise when it comes to the UK government and the actions that they're constantly taking. When was the last time you saw a decent headline from the government where they've done something good? Or, God forbid, did something that was in the best interests of the people of this country? Now, all that I want, guys, is I want an NHS that is built and maintained for the people of this country. The people that have paid in their taxes their entire lives, that deserve the treatment that's been offered, that get priority treatment over people that have never paid into the system. I want common sense back. I want a country that loves its people, so the people can again fall in love with the country. So if you do like the channel, guys, please subscribe. I try to highlight things that are, I think, important to people and people need to be aware of. Obviously, this isn't a very funny one, but I can't be funny all the time because sometimes the subject is too dark. This one's pretty dark. You can't really make a joke about a cancer patient sitting next to someone with TB. It's pretty much as bad as it gets. Anyway, if you do like the channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.